Welcome back to yet another episode of Making Some Stuff. Today, we are going to be working on Onyx Prime a little bit more. Now, if you watched the last video, you might notice there's quite a bit more to him than what I had yesterday. Obviously, there's the mask, which is what we did make yesterday, and then later, I worked on this chest piece, which isn't great at all, but it exists. It's something that exists, and it didn't. Yes, it didn't when we did this last. So now it does, and that's all that's really worth saying about that. Um, Sorry, I am just a little bit distracted. Now, for what we were doing today, we're going to be doing as much as I can do. I'm thinking probably starting with filling out the rest of the torso, and we'll kind of see what happens after that. Also, I'm thinking of going ahead and changing the art direction a little bit and not having this be an animatic model, just having it be a kind of lowish quality model that is in a similar style to what I would typically do. Maybe. Um. Anyway, yeah. So some stuff. Today I went over to my usual spot for drawing. I pulled up a couple of pictures of the thing. Not John Carpenter's The Thing, Onyx Prime. And I drew out what I could to see if I can make sense of some of the details. So we're going to use this as reference alongside these and hopefully get something of a result. I'll go ahead and start by changing up the shaders with some shaders I've made for other stuff. And I don't know. We'll see how this goes. For soundtrack, we're going to be listening to Transformers Prime. Sorry, I'm not doing too great today, as you could probably hear. Alright. Set this to 35, because that's usually a good place to have it. Do 35 here as well. Got to be sure to recalculate outside. Also do his face. His face will be 35. Again, we are recalculating outside. Hoping that improves my stuff. Actually, for his face in particular, we should probably do 45. And I'll go back and add sharpness where we need it. Which I'll leave at 35 for now, since that just looked a little bit better in the meantime. Alright. Yes, what is next? Well, we'll go through and add some sharp edges, or just where they feel like they should be. See what we can do to get rid of some sharp edges that shouldn't be there, like this. I prefer that to blend. It would help to set this to cavity, I'm sure. Oh, yeah, that's a thing. Okay. Are there any sharp edges on the toy I need to be aware of? As for some panel lines and stuff, I'm not really set on this yet, but I'm thinking of maybe drawing those on and actually texturing this semi-professionally. No promises there, but I don't know, we'll see. It's not something I've done in a pretty long time, especially for a Transformers model, but I don't know. Maybe I'll do that. It's still going to be a pretty rough approximation of the actual Onyx Prime toy because obviously we don't really know exactly what the Onyx Prime toy is going to look like from all angles. I can do my best to match it, but it will never perfectly match. And with that in mind, I'll just try and not stress myself out with this too much. Okay. Yeah. Just whatever looks neat, I guess, is what we'll be doing. Alright. Once I get some of this stuff done, then we will go ahead and start on the shader thingy. Alright. Just gonna do some stuff to the mask that I feel like should be done, and then it is shader time. I think I'll be posting this model to Sketchfab. I'd love to see people animate with him and stuff. Which means if I can manage it, he's gonna be properly rigged and all. Just to be cool. Have him be something that people can actually want to use for stuff. Yeah, there we go. Alright, it's almost shader time. Okay, that's something. Actually quite like the way that looks. Neat. Very neat, actually. I like this. I'll try my best to... Oh, sorry. I'll try my best to make him not perfect, but still close enough, just so that there is a reason to revisit this later on when the actual toy comes out and we can see exactly what he's supposed to look like. From all angles. Okay, I'm gonna add a sharp edge here. Splendid. Alright, now it is actually shader time. Oh, well, actually, not quite. Sorry, hold on. Okay, now it is shader time. Got that nice edge on the back. Oh. I'm sure some of y'all noticed that. Okay, here we go. I really like the way this is looking. This helmet's gonna be weird, because I do not know what that's gonna look like. I don't have a clue. Okay. Now, I'm gonna be making a shader that I've made for some stuff in the past. Unfortunately, this only works in cycles, but we're gonna be baking it, so yeah, hopefully, sometimes when I stream in cycles, it glitches out. Hopefully it doesn't do that at the moment. Though it very well might. Yeah, we'll see. Okay, here we go. So first, we are going to need a bevel. I'm gonna plug this bevel normal into base color, and that's gonna seem weird at first because this is the wrong shader even. I want to start with brown. Alright. We're gonna need this bevel. And it's gonna feel weird that we're using this at first. But you see this edge here? That is what we are after. I'm gonna increase it a little bit. Now, we are going to copy this bevel and put it down here with a radius of 0. This can just be like 2 samples. This I'm going to turn up to 8 just in case. Now we are going to create a mix. Change the mix to color and its type to difference. So if we combine these two, and we put it in the back, turn the factor up to 1. Note, the difference between them is nothing at the moment, or like there is no difference from them until you go into the rendered mode. Then this is your difference, and this is the thing that we can modify to be whatever we want it to be. See that? That is going to be our edgeware. Now, we are going to want it to be a little different than that, so that's a mix. What we want is a color ramp node. And now we have this nice kind of black and white. This is what we have for this kind of thing. But of course we don't want this black and white. What we want is different than that. So we're going to take another just a color node. I can't remember what this is. Oh, RGB. We're going to get an RGB node. We're going to copy the color of our original shader here. So if we put it in here, it's like that. We're going to create another... actually, we don't need this just yet. There's one more thing we need to do, which is ambient occlusion. And all that's going to be is ambient occlusion. Oh, I can't remember what that shader was, that node was. We don't need it. Color ramp works well enough. Alright, and with this, we're gonna change this. Actually, no, we don't want to change that inside. Forget that. We are going to increase the black a bit. So if we go here, it should be something like this. We're going to change the distance to about 0.8. Actually, 0.5 might be better. Something a little more like that, I suppose. And we're going to make it gray, not black. So yeah, now we're going to have something kind of like this. I do want to increase the This takes a little bit of adjusting to get exactly how you want it to look. Something like that'll probably work. Let's see how that looks in this view. Yeah, that's something. Alright, so this here is our edge highlights, similar to cavity. And this here is going to be our ambient occlusion. And we're just going to set these aside for now, because next we want to work on our base color. And for our base color, we're going to be using a texture that I made for Sound Blaster, actually. Let me bring that in. Alright. We've got Sound Blaster Grunge and Sound Blaster Scratches. The Grunge texture looks about like this. It was whipped together in Krita. Scratches look like this. They will help us make this a little more textured. I'm gonna select everything in the scene and then just do like a smart UV unwrap. It's not perfect, but it'll work for what we're doing here. We're gonna plug the... Sorry. We're gonna add a mix color. We're gonna plug this into A. This into factor. And this into base. Now, if I did this right, this should be the darker color. It doesn't entirely feel like I did this right. That is because this should be a value so that we can go into negative or positive numbers. Though we actually mix should be multiply. Sorry. That way we have like more color control. So, oh, you know what? There's something else I forgot about. This does not look good on its own. We need a color ramp for Sound Blaster Grunge so we can increase the difference between these two. That is something I totally forgot about. Style-wise, I really should just make a texture that already looks like this at this point. But style-wise, we want sharp edges. Kind of like that. And we're gonna use this multiply node to do something like this. Only a little less apparent. Something like that. So there's texture there, but it never really gets in the way of things. And actually, I don't think we're going to need scratches for Onyx, so I'm going to take that away. All we need is this. So now that we have this, we're going to add another mix color with multiply and put it here. This is going to go into color A. Our ambient occlusion is going to go into factor. And this is going to be a value. Now, I did this backwards, so plug the result from the previous into A and this into... I did not do it backwards. Hold on, I gotta remember how I typically do this. Let's try. No, this isn't really gonna do what I want. I already know that. Mix, obviously not either. These do feel like they should be backwards at the very least. You know what? This might be exactly what we're looking for. There, it's faint, but it's there. Just a bit of ambient occlusion. I do kind of want to make it slightly more pronounced, but not too much. Something around here. It'll be easier to see how that looks on the body. Yeah. We're gonna go back to making that more of a gray. Let's use color burn. And never mind. I don't remember what I typically do for this, but this works, so we're gonna do that. In fact, we don't even need a value node here. Just make that black. There we go. Ta-da! Ambient occlusion. Okay. What next? What next? Ah, yes. So now that we have this, let's move it a little bit. We're gonna take the same mix thing that we had before. This one I know we want to be multiply. We're going to put this in factor A and the result in base color. And we're going to take our edge highlight node collection and put it over here. Now we're going to need a value. Alright, we're going to increase the radius. I actually think we're increasing quite a bit. Yeah, and there we have it. There's the Onyx Prime base material that we're going to copy over to the other stuff. I'm not going to worry about specular and all that stuff right now because we don't really need to, for the moment anyway. So I'm going to put this same collection, bring it over here. We're going to copy the original color, which might be suited here. Put that here. I am going to turn up the metallic to like 0.5. Turn roughness down. There, something like that. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and skip to silver just so we can like copy these exact things here. That is problematic, and thankfully is an easy fix. Hold on. We're going to use the knife tool to make a cut here. There we go. Alright, let's go ahead and do dark brown. I normally don't do eyes with this style for some reason. Though I do have a different thing that I sometimes do for the eyes, so we're going to do that. but it doesn't always work that nicely, so we'll see. Alright, let's see how he looks in his rendered preview. Not too bad, not too bad. Actually, kind of nice. Alright, let's go ahead and set up the sharp edges for his mouth so that we don't have to look at the ugly, not properly set up mouth stuff. Recalculate outside, just in case it hasn't done that. We're going to do that same like knife tool thing to make sure that it understands where we want the triangles to be. We're going to set up the top lip to be sharpened. His nose, of course, which is already sharp, but we're gonna reset up the nose to be sharp anyway. We also want this whole like brow section to be sharp. In fact, I even want his chin sharp. The bottom lip, I'm less certain about. I don't know if it needs to be. In fact, I'd say it doesn't need to be. Something else. Let's move this back a bit, like to round it. Oh, we're still on normal. Okay, to round this out a little bit, so it doesn't have so many artifacts. This isn't great face topology, but in fairness, this was meant to be an animatic model, not a final one. I just got a bit carried away with details and figured this might be good to go ahead and do. Alright, well now that we have that out of the way, it's time to start working on some other elements. And, where to start? I feel like this backpack / torso piece might be a good place to start, and then maybe the centaur back. Now, one thing I noticed, which isn't worth explaining right now, so never mind. I'll explain it when we get to it. We're going to separate this out. I'm going to take this and make a copy here. Oh, that could very easily be joined with the vertex below it. So we'll do that to save on some polygons. Alright, we're going to take this and separate it out. And this is where we're going to build the kind of backpack section, which is going to be built out like this with a bevel in the corner, but I'm not actually going to bevel it the old-fashioned way. We're going to bevel it like this. This section is going to be interesting. So we're going to build this out, fill it out that way, and then go out and join at the center. Unfortunately, I didn't fully think this through, but it does not need to be flat. We're gonna kind of bring it out like this. And just because we're going to rotate this whole section out a little bit. Actually, best way to do what I was thinking would be to do this. There we go. Alright, there's that. Next, we want to build out further, but I want to check this image. Okay, that does continue. So these will kind of like go together like this, and I believe they reach a flat point. I'll have to check the image again in a second here. Alright, let's see. Yes, they kind of do. I might make that flare out a little bit just for style's sake, but for now, this works. Okay, we're going to bring this out a little bit, and to help separate these sections, we're going to do this. Yeah, that's something. Now, the actual position of this piece isn't going to be quite here. It's going to... Actually, never mind. That is exactly where it goes. Yeah, it is just straight up here. Never mind. Yep, that's where that goes. Okay, so we're gonna build this up and kind of match this angle. And that is gonna go all the way up to where his shoulders should go. I believe it also flares up a bit, so we'll do that. This whole thing needs to be wider. Yeah, it's more like that. Alright. We're going to do that so it has a bit of a curve to it, but not too much curve, just a little bit. Alright, we'll bring this out. Center this section. Alright, now we have this, and I'm going to add a bevel. Which, never mind, I don't want to add a bevel there. What we're going to do is, never mind. I don't want to do that either. Now, I do want to add the kind of edge that this has, but with it being at a angle like this, it's kind of not something I can do easily, so... You know what? We're going to do this. Alright, we're going to build this out from here and then rotate it. I should have a little bit more control this way and not have to worry about janky polygons because, well, still kind of got to worry about janky polygons, but not as badly. Okay. In fact, just for the sake of it, go ahead and kind of round this off a little. And we'll do this. And I do not like that, but it works. So that's what we're going to do. But Greeble, it clips! Yes, it does. And it's going to. Whatever. Okay. Part of me feels like that should flare out, but considering this is, like, you know, that section, it probably shouldn't. Alright, something else. The kind of imbalanced size here is bothering me. Now, what can we do to fix that, I wonder? can stretch out the whole bottom this way. Also, don't think it should be out this far. Yeah, something more like this, I guess. Just for the sake of the lanky Onyx Prime feeling. Even though that isn't totally accurate to how the toy looks, that's what we're gonna do. Alright, well, that's kind of this piece, I guess. Gonna flare this out a little bit more, because I can. Bring it back. Back it up, back it up. Okay, and just do a quick smart UV unwrap so that we can get a basic look at what the texturing is gonna look like on this. Yay! He's got more torso, I guess. How is this gonna come together, I wonder? I'm afraid my drawings didn't predict that very well. Man, he's got some crazy stuff on his back that we're not going to be able to replicate because there's no pictures of his back. Wait! Oh, his whole beast mode head's on his back. Yeah, it is. That's his whole beast mode back there. Whole beast mode head, anyway. I don't know if we should do that or not. Huh. Well, I'm gonna say not and move on. Alright. Next thing to do is, like, maybe this, like, crotch piece, I guess, because the shoulders are definitely one of the problem areas, and I'd rather save them for when I actually have to deal with them. Probably not smart. But, yeah. Or... well... some stuff I'm noticing. This should be here, actually. Just make that feel a little bit better. A bit. Hey, guess what, guys? It ain't clipping anymore. I feel like I should do something interesting with the back. But I don't really know how much of this is going to be a factor. So, for the time being, I will continue to ignore it. Alright. Let's do the centaur back next, because that seems straightforward enough. We're gonna do that by bringing this down and starting it this way. So this is gonna go like that. We're gonna stretch this out. And then we're gonna do another one of these thingies, like this. This is actually gonna be like, oh, you know what? Never mind. We're not gonna do that. We're gonna leave this as its own section, and you'll see why in a moment. Well, not a moment. Whenever I finish this part. Alright, we're gonna copy just this outer layer and, like, scale it up a bit. Should have done this to begin with. We're gonna do this and this. And now we have this thingy that we can bring out. Alright, is there like any curve to that by chance? Yes, there is. In fact, that is a way more complicated looking detail than I initially did. So we're not gonna do it exactly the way I just did it. Let's just bring this over and we'll use this as reference. Because you see, this section here actually becomes the back of the centaur. See that right there? That's the leg joint. All of this comes down, like slides down in some way, and goes back. And that's the centaur. I don't know exactly how it works yet. For all I know, these pieces are connected. But, I don't know. So we're just gonna keep doing it this way for now. Alright. This is gonna be a little funky. You know what? Let's build this as if it actually is the piece within this section. Because that'll probably help position everything and make the robot, like a biped robot, look a little bit better. If we do it that way. Though, I'm not really that interested in giving him a biped robot mode. I should, so yeah. I guess he will have one. I feel like this part is only like that for the sake of the toy. But I'll do it anyway, because it does look kind of neat. Sorry, I could have done that better. I will do that better. I swear I know what I'm doing. Kind of. For the most part. Alright, that's that. Next is the, like, crotch piece. Which is gonna be kind of like, this, for the most part. And then it's gonna go out. It's gonna have this, like, bevel in the corner here. And it's gonna go out again. And go down. Alright, and now I'll adjust the scales and make sure that actually feels kind of okay. We're gonna bring this down as well. This is gonna be like that. I'm gonna bring this around. No idea what his butt's supposed to look like, so we're gonna have to guesswork it. This is gonna be like out. Only I'm gonna sharpen its edge so that it's actually got a sharp edge there, even after other stuff. This too will have a sharpened edge. May as well make that more of a curve. Alright, we're gonna bring this around. Whoa, Onyx Prime's butt. Alright, except it's not totally, because we're going to do like this and then bring this around. So that we have this to build from. Why did I do it like that? I didn't need to. Okay. This is not a great way of doing that. But it's done. That is a way of doing that. Don't do that. do not do it the way that I just did it. It actually caused a problem. A problem that is not easily avoided in this case. Actually, maybe it is. Sure. I guess that kind of worked. However, I can't help but think it would have worked better if I did something slightly different, but whatever. This is fine, I guess. No, I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. We gotta fix it. We gotta change it. That's terrible. I shouldn't have done that. Oh well, I did it. Moving on. If I did it anywhere, I should have done it here. Cool, I guess. That's a little bit better, maybe. Neat. Okay. Well, that's that. That's his,
Need a few frames?
horrible,
Generating
ugly,
sound from Adobe Premiere Pro can fix that.
ugly
Add
ass.
frames, generate ambient sound, and more. For a limited time, try it now with complimentary generations.
That ad was unskippable. I apologize for that. Okay, let's fill this in. I don't like how many extra polygons are in here. I'll make use of them so that they're not like just here. There. They're used a little, I guess. Never mind, I don't like that. Cool. Kind of. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. You know what? This chest piece is like huge proportionally compared to how it looks on the toy. That or his head's just like really tiny, and I know this should be like kind of far forward compared to the head too. So we're gonna move the head back, and maybe we'll get a slightly better idea of how this should be. Onyx Prime. Giving them wide hips. Okay. So who else can't wait for this toy to come out? I mean, it looks pretty darn cool. Alright, this is where things get a little iffy. And I become a lot less certain about what I'm doing. As if I wasn't already pretty uncertain about what I'm doing here. We'll see what happens. So, it's not that things are getting iffy here. This is where I should make up robot details. Because the toy isn't going to have the same mechanical interior robot details that, like, an animated model would have. Um, I need to add those. I don't really want to add those. Um, but this is gonna be where the main divergence from the toy comes, I suppose. The part where we make stuff up. Which I'm never a fan of making stuff up for this kind of thing. It's not that I can't do it, it's that it feels wrong. 'Cause I want it to be as accurate as I can make it, and it's not accurate if I'm just making it up as I go, Alright, we're gonna change this to like let's try 18. Yeah, so it's not too high poly, not too low poly. I think 20 is what I used for Howlback. Oh, right, it needs to be a multiple of 4. Okay, we're going for 20. Alright. This is gonna be the big, actually where his, centaur legs would connect. I'm gonna be like in here a little bit. Actually, we're gonna bring this to the middle. I think we're gonna turn these into just normal panels that can just be kind of pasted onto whatever mechanical stuff we come up with for the back here. That way I can lower this slightly. And the other thing we're going to want to do is... This part's going to be a little weird, but I think I might have an idea for this, like a ribbed midriff section. Alright, I'm going to start going a little like freeform with details. And this is going to be like, this is the outer shell. And I'm going to copy it and do this with it. So this is going to be like that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to kind of shrink all of this stuff to be like something in the middle of this shell. I should have done that a different way. Hold on. Okay. That'll do. That will do. Well, a little smaller than that, I think. So this is gonna be like his actual midriff, and then these. Offset even. I'm gonna try and do this with them. gonna separate those by selection. We're gonna center this again. Gonna make this dark brown. I'm gonna lower that a bit because I just realized a different detail we can do for that. So this is that. There's only 3 of these, surprisingly. So we're going to array modifier them. I have 3 of them. Yeah, something like that. I'm gonna do this on the top and the bottom of this. Whoa, sudden lag spikes. Don't like that. Alright. Alright, we're doing that just because interesting detail, I guess. Make it a little less squared off. But make sure that there's still room for it to be in here. Yeah, how about that? That's not super interesting, but it's something. Screw it. This isn't an animatic model. Let me go ahead and add like some bevels to this stuff. Bevels are fun. Well, they can be. Not always. Ooh, look at all the horrible topology I'm adding. Okay, yay! There we go. Doesn't that just, like, immediately improve how this looks already? Doesn't that just put everything else on this guy to shame? Kinda do, actually. We're gonna do something kind of neat to this. I don't know, it's something. That's something, alright. I'm gonna just do a cut into here too, because that feels like something that could maybe be neat, I guess. Okay, there we go. Yay, random detail for the sake of random detail. Don't you just love it? Hold on. There we go. Now it sort of stylistically matches all the stuff that I beveled previously. Only, I'm starting to think maybe I shouldn't have beveled all that stuff. I like the top beveled, not the rest. This is a stupid way to fix this. In fact, I know this is undoing some work that I did earlier. But whatever, I guess. I'm gonna keep the imperfections on this guy just so I don't stress over him completely when I'm working on him. Whoa, okay. It's not quite how I wanted to do that. You might ask yourself, what am I doing? I don't know. Yeah, what is this? I don't know. It's stuff. Hmm. Alright, you see these little, like, pistons here? Yeah, I feel like I should add them. But, yeah, I don't know if I should. I guess we're gonna make this little space in here and then put them in there. They're kind of pointless, but, I mean, it's neat robot detail stuff, so we're gonna do it. However, we're not making them a full 20. I'm just gonna do them at, like, 12. So they're still round, but they don't take up too much. 12 still feels like a bit much. But, next best thing is 8. And hexagon isn't really gonna do this right either, so. Alright, so I'm gonna make a stick. And there. Actually, you know what? Keep that and extrude it as like an actual connection point. We're gonna bring that out further for the actual connection point too. And I'm gonna color these parts something else, like dark brown. Which seems to be 3, and they're all angled back like this. Ugh. We're gonna have to do some weird clipping stuff. I hate that. Maybe I could like, I'll put a mount there or something and make it look a little more on purpose. Alright, yeah, I'm just gonna put them where they kind of feel like they could fit, and then I'll modify it from there. Each one slightly smaller than the last, going into kind of like this kind of deal. Alright, now I don't totally like the way this looks, so we're gonna modify it a little bit. I'm gonna bring this out as far as I can before it starts to clip with that. And then we're going to create a slit specifically so these pistons have somewhere to go. Oop. Somewhere that like the audience, I guess you could say, won't see them. Unfortunately, this will create a lot of extra topology. Not a huge fan of that. Also not a huge fan of that. We're gonna bring this out too. Sort of like go to here, maybe. No. Do it like this, I think. That has space to be like that. There, I guess. Something to connect to. Not a huge fan of those being silver though, so I might just go ahead and make these black as well. Oh, I didn't need to do brown. So they're there, but they're, yeah. Okay, that's quite a bit to start with. Alright, let's do a quick UV unwrap. Do like 80 degrees, I don't know. And see what that looks like. Everything together. Okay, well. Round stuff always looks weird. This way. Yeah, what's this? Why is... Oh, let me guess. Okay. Oh, there we go. Guess let's just unwrap everything again. Smart UV unwrap, whatever. Blah blah blah. It's never really a good idea, but we did it. We did it. It's smart UV unwrapped. Recalculate outside just in case. We're gonna do it again. Yay, we did it. What is this? Why does that look worse than it did earlier? Is it because I'm doing 9 or 80 degrees? Yeah, probably. Do 70, I don't know. Oh, it still looks like that. That's ugly. Why is it looking like that? Come on now. You're clearly on the same face. Stuff like that that makes the polygons and seams obvious. I don't want it to be like that. Well, I mean, this is why you don't auto UV unwrap stuff for smart UV unwrap. You know. Let's go full 90, I guess. That's terrible. Don't do that. You know what? 235. Is that actually just prominent enough to... I guess so. Still does that for some reason, but... I don't get why these don't want to be together. Screw it, I'm gonna mark your seam so that you have to be together. Excuse me? You're still not gonna do the thing that... Oh, because I didn't mark the seam, okay. It's staying separate, but now it's on its own? You're kidding me. Fine, I'll limited dissolve you again. Now it works. Well, I guess because I fixed a different issue. Okay, well. There. Onyx. He's beautiful. well, I did UV by 35. So let's not do that. 45 at the very least. That'll keep some of the randomization down. I'm gonna turn on this so that we can get a better look at what he looks like. Oh, that ambient occlusion is terrible. Hold on. Oh, I gotta fix it for each one of these too. Hmm. So I didn't expect that we'd be starting out with this mode, but I guess we have. And we've been at this for an hour and 13 minutes already, just for this section. That's okay. You know, these little random boxes I added, I don't really like them anymore, so we're gonna remove them. They were there. They participated. They're gone now. Goodbye, boxes. Okay. So, next thing that might be good to do. Well, I want to see this first. Oh, 90. Negative. You know what? I'll do that. So that. I mean, I know it doesn't really rotate from this point, but just because it'll be easier to visualize, I think. I'm gonna go 90, and that'll go down here. I feel like just for the sake of it, this should stretch out a bit so that he has more of a centaur thing going on for him. But for now that works. Also, his tail box. I almost forgot about the tail box. We need to do that. We'll do that in a minute though. I'm gonna put that back where it was. Put that thing back where it came from, or so help me. Neat. Neat, neat. I think we might actually do this, guys. Yep, we are gonna make Onyx Prime. No doubt about it. But for the time being, I've got to get up for a second. Um, maybe grab a snack, use the latrine. So I'm gonna do a big B right back. We're gonna give him a sinister mustache. Not, and I can do it. I can do a better beard than that. Doing a bit of a smiley. His bird face, sinister mustache as well. Right. Yeah, I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back. Unfortunately, it looks like I'm gonna have to leave pretty soon here, so we're gonna have to come back to this guy. But I will not leave without at least starting on something else that we can work on next time. I might do this without you guys. Maybe. It depends on if I have time tonight. But the arms, let me see here. I'm gonna need to bring in a collection from the animatic models folder. I'll bring in Sound Blaster. Holy crap, we've been making him huge. At least we've been making him the right way around. Let me rotate Sound Blaster. All right. Let's rescale all this stuff. I'll make this about the same size for now. I'll probably modify it later. Because, I mean, Onyx is supposed to be a lot bigger than Sound Blaster. But, you know, as long as their heads are the same size, I feel like, you know, height-wise, he's going to be really tall anyway, so. Alright. Definitely a difference in quality. Okay. We're going to bring this over here. We're going to delete some extra stuff that we don't need. Because all I need is this skeleton, and I specifically need it because of the arms. They aren't IK rigged. You see, the arms have a special shoulder rig that I designed that actually works in vrchat. So I'm going to take these shoulder components, pretty much one-to-one, and even this, even though I don't think his toy has a double jointed elbow, I don't care. This is really fun to play with. So we're going to give the model a fake double jointed elbow. In fact, does the toy have one? That's a question. No. I don't think he does. Maybe he does. That looks slightly double jointed. So I could be wrong. Maybe he does. But I don't think he does. Um, yeah, so we're gonna make like this core arm bit. And I'm gonna save the forearm for later. This is what I might do without you guys. I might do the shoulder. Like the panel. This interior arm bit for this. And the this section here that all of this other bits stuff is glued into. So it'll be another big cylinder with this stuff tied into it, basically. Actually, this main like shoulder joint itself, I think I might directly rip from Sound Blaster. The rest we're gonna make up as we go, modify proportions as we need to, whatever else. These legs we're still gonna need, I think. The IK legs, but they won't work exactly how they should. I guess it depends on which mode he's in to begin with. You know what? No, it doesn't. It does not matter. Because the digiguide can be faked anyway, so it needs to be faked anyway, so yeah, we're just gonna use this leg rig. This is just gonna be the model that I make work for vrchat anyway. Or if you guys prefer, I could make this specifically a model for animation so that you guys yourselves can play with him in Blender. I'll be sure to post the files to Sketchfab so you guys can use them. I need to fix the scaling of the bevel, and after I fix the scaling of the bevel, I'm afraid that's gonna be all I have time for today. I'm gonna have to go after that. I'm gonna fix the slip here too, because that's definitely something. Oh, okay. Oh. I never increased this. Or did I? And then unincreased it. I unincreased it. Okay. There. We're good. We're good. Okay. Moving on. Bevels. So 0.5 is probably what we want. I'm gonna have to play with it and find out. What shade are we on? We're on dark brown. That one's a little harder to follow, but alright, we got 0.1. Alright. Probably want like 0.005 at the very least. Alright. Let's try 0.15. Now that the scale is direct. And yeah, I forgot about that. Let's sharpen this while we're at it. I'm gonna have to go back and do that for every shader. Also decrease this to like 1.7, 1.5. Yeah. All right. I guess I'll do that real quick and then I'll be done for today. Okay. I'm gonna take this over to Onyx Brown. I'm not gonna bother resetting up everything. Just this seems easier overall. All right. There's Onyx Brown. We're gonna do the same for Onyx Gold. And when the final model's done, all of this is gonna be like baked and just textures. Hopefully textures that look better because I'll have some proper UV unwrapping, and I might even add some specific texture details like panel lines and stuff that I noticed in the toy that wouldn't have been reasonable to add directly to the model. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna have to modify this a little bit, I think. Oh, we already did brown. Okay, silver time. On the light brown in particular, this feels a lot more like cavity, and I don't want it to feel like cavity. So we're gonna spread this out a bit, 0.15, and we're gonna dull the brightness of that, or the how extreme that is, quite a bit. And I believe we should get a slightly better result now overall. Yeah. Yeah, I like that. All right, gonna hide that. Just have it in the project folder. And there we have it. Onyx Prime. Coming together slowly but surely. Um, I'll try and do this again tomorrow. I might not be able to. We'll see. Um, I'll probably do the shoulder thing when I get back home, though that's not going to be on stream. So that'll be that. And tomorrow, if we stream again, if I have the time, we might go ahead and try and make his bow, just for the having the beast mode tail. And potentially the legs, or if I do actually make the arms, instead of the legs, we might do the forearms and the hands. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I'll see you guys next time, and slowly but surely we will have a decent model of Age of the Primes Onyx Prime. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you for watching this long. I'm surprised if you did. So yes, serious. Thank you. I appreciate the support. I'll see you guys next time, and good luck with stuff.